Hi, you're listening to the My Body, My Story podcast.
It just helps me put one step foot in front of the other, and I've had a lot of obstacles and that has just gotten me through. So that's me, that's and every time I've thought about, is there something, that question, that is the one that just keeps coming, ringing true through to me, and I think that's mine, that's me, that's who I am.
This is the 45 over 45 chapter where we celebrate rule breakers and role models, the women who inspire us to live life our way and to show their sensuality, beauty, soul, and true essence. Here, we talk about what it's like to be 45 plus, adjusting to the changes that come with time, and we listen to the stories of our participants. If you have an interesting story, we'd love for you to participate. You can email us at info@alexandrawalker.com. That's Alexandra spelt with a K-S. Or visit our website, alexandrawalker.com.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the My Body, My Story project. And today with us in the studio, Renee, and while she's sitting in the makeup chair and Bella is creating her magic, and I'll be interviewing Renee and asking her a few questions. Morning, Renee, welcome to the studio.
Morning, how are you?
Let's start and tell us 10 facts about yourself.
Okay, I am married. I have 3 beautiful sons who are special needs, so they occupy a lot of my time. I work part-time, and I've been married since I was 20.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And now you're?
Now I'm 54.
So
yeah.
It's like 34 years.
34 years married, yeah. And I met my husband when I was 17. So I haven't really been on the market very long. So I haven't really experienced what it's like to go out and do that kind of thing, if you know what I mean. What else?
So where you said you work part-time, what's your job?
Well, I work for the government, and I can't really say what position, where in the government, but I do work a government position. And I live on the Central Coast, and I have a beautiful beagle dog named Micah. I call him my comfort dog because he comforts me all the time.
What's the
very,
breed?
very naughty. Beagle. Yeah, very naughty dog. And I live on the Central Coast, and I grew up there. Actually, my parents moved there when I was 18 months old. And yeah, so I'm a coastie by heart. And I did move away when I met my husband. I moved away to the city to live with my husband for a little bit, for a couple of years. And then we came back. We bought a house, which was really, we didn't buy it, we got a mortgage and whatever, paid it off. But that was tough. I had my first child when I was 23. And so we pretty much heads down, bums up, working hard, taking care of a child, and then that's sort of went back to work when he was about 6 months, and then kind of discovered that he was special needs, and then second one came along, and then kind of realised that I couldn't really commit to working and taking care of 2 children and one with special needs because it required a lot of appointments and time for him, and so I left the workforce for about 20 years. I was going to go back to the workforce when they were all back. I had a 3rd child by then, and I was going to go back to the workforce, but then my 2nd child got type 1 diabetes, and he got quite ill, nearly died, and I couldn't go back to the workforce, so that's why I was out of the workforce for 20 years. So I've only been back in the workforce for about 5 years. And that was really challenging, going back into the workforce after not being in the workforce for such a long time.
But do you enjoy working?
Yeah, I do. I like the challenge of working. I mostly like, I didn't even think I could do it. It was so hard. I didn't think I could do it, but they took me on, especially a government role. And I just like being with people and being, because I felt so isolated for so long, being at home with children and not really being in the community that much, and especially with special needs kids, it's very hard. Yeah, I enjoyed going back and just being part of a work community, so that was really good.
So did you have any chance to travel at all during your...
No, it's very hard to travel with kids, you know, on the spectrum. So it requires a lot of coordination and getting people to come and support you. So we just didn't, and we didn't know how to organise that. Like when my first son was diagnosed with it, there wasn't a lot of support. There wasn't a lot around. It wasn't really known that well. And it just was really, really hard. And so I didn't really know where to go, or it was new to me. I didn't know what to do.
So it was quite challenging.
It was very challenging.
Yeah.
I felt very isolated.
But now probably there are a lot of support
there's so
groups.
much around. There's so much support, so much talk about it, and you know, people know, a lot more people know about autism and stuff like that now. But you know, and that's great. It's great for all the people that are dealing with that now. But when I was dealing with it, it just wasn't. There wasn't that much of it around to help, and people didn't understand it. So you would go out in the community and people just didn't understand your child, and it was just too hard. So
Usually
we just
people
didn't go
don't
out.
understand what is different or look different. Yeah. So do you feel that it affected somehow your child, or?
Oh, he had. My first child is quite autistic, and it was exhausting. Like he was very challenged at school. He was bullied. It was very hard for him. He obviously didn't. He had to go. He went to a mainstream school. We couldn't get him into a special needs school. It was just, all the places were always taken. We just couldn't get him in. So we went to a mainstream school with support, and that was very challenging for him. He was in a mainstream class with support, and that was hard for him, and he did the best he could. He actually was super smart in some areas, like, you know, in maths and stuff like that, but his reading and things like that, he just couldn't keep up with. His English. And then my second one came along, and I thought he was all good and fine until he hit school, and holy moly, he just did not cope at school at all, and he was running out of class and doing all sorts of stuff like that, and that just went on and on and on, right up through to high school. So much challenge with him. He just did not cope in school. And it took us a while to realise, yes, he has issues too. And the pediatrician said, yes, he has autism as well. And my heart sank, and I thought, oh, another one. Kind of didn't want to face that one, but I did eventually.
Yeah, you had no choice.
Yeah. And then...
So what made you start looking for a job after so many years?
I don't know, I just wanted to contribute. I wanted to start earning my own money a bit too. Like I was supported by my husband, but I felt like I wanted to feel independent myself. So I wanted my own form of income. And he was happy for me to do that too. So that's one of the reasons. And yeah, so the other reason, obviously, I wanted to get out and
to be independent,
be part of the community and do something with myself. Because I was a bit tired of just being at home and...
Yeah, it's a hard job to be a full-time mom.
Yeah. The kids were getting older, and well, they were all, you know, at the point where they were almost finished high school. And
Do they live with you, still with you, or?
no, I have two of them live in a house about 20 minutes away from me, and they're supported in that house. And one of them, the oldest one that's got the higher needs, he still lives with me, but we're looking at, he's keen to go and live in a supported independent living situation. So we're looking at, and we've put an application into the NDIS to get him into that situation. So we're moving in that direction for him. So we haven't.
So you have more free time.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the moment.
Yeah.
So what's your, let's try to get to 10 facts about you. And so what's your favorite cuisine, or what do you like to eat or cook? Do you cook, or you prefer?
I'm not a cook. I cook to live. I cook to as I have to. But my favourite thing to cook is cheesecake.
Cheesecake?
Yeah.
You can make it yourself?
Yeah, I make a lot. When I do cook, and I cook, you know, for Christmas, my contribution usually is a cheesecake. So yeah, I love to cook that.
But what's your favourite cuisine? Do you go out, eat out?
I don't really have a favourite cuisine.
You like every
I like
food?
everything. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
You don't have any problems if you go somewhere, you can eat anything.
Well, I'm gluten intolerant and lactose intolerant, so that's a bit of a challenge. But there's lots of places that accommodate it these
nowadays,
days now, so it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Okay, so let's move to the aging questions. And my question is, what does aging mean to you at this age, at the moment?
I don't kind of really ponder on it too much. I don't think about aging too much. The only aspect that really concerns me is, because I'm a mum of special needs boys, my concern mostly is that because I'm getting older, that at some point I need them to be taken care of if I can't. So when I get to a point where I can't take care of them, that's my worry. In terms of age, like my body's getting older, I'm getting older and tireder. So.
So you look at the aging through the lens of mom who won't be able to take care of kids when you're away, or.
Yeah, you know, like who will take care of them, and when I'm gone, sort of thing, and make sure they're okay. So
you don't feel like something changing in you and it's bothering you, and like
my body? You mean by my body?
Like anything, yeah. We will move to the body questions, but like with age, sometimes women say, "Oh, now I realize that I'm changing, or my body is changing, or like I don't know, my attitude's changing, and I feel the age kicking in."
Yeah, well, yeah, I do. I feel tireder and
faster than you used to.
I can't obviously do as much as I used to, but I am a bit limited too, because I had a procedure done back in 2015, and I am currently in a medical negligence case, my own personal one, and it's limited my physical abilities, so that makes me feel old. That has limited me.
Yeah. I noticed that we all feel older when we don't feel well.
Yeah, when I can't achieve what I want to achieve, and when I look at others who can do what I would like to do, and I miss the things that I could do, like riding horses, and I used to do Miss Muddy and, you know, boot camp and things like that.
Oh.
And
do you know, did you ride horses, or you?
A long time ago, but it makes you miss the things that you used to be able to do.
Yeah. So aging, in your definition, is when you start feeling that you cannot do what you could before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and talking about body, what do you think your body could ask you or tell you if it could talk?
I was thinking about this on the way in the train. I'm thinking, what would my body tell me? What would my body ask me? What would my body asking me? Well, my body would tell me, you know, it's okay to be happy. Your body's okay. It'd probably tell me, I like you. I like you the way you are. It's okay. Not everybody has to like you. You don't have to wear nice clothes all the time. You don't have to look pretty all the time. It's okay to rest occasionally. You don't have to take care of everybody all the time. You know.
So you were
It's
enough.
okay if you're saggy.
So when, what do you think are the main causes of body image issues? Like you mentioned that you don't need to dress pretty all the time, you don't need to worry all the time. So what do you think causes those body image issues?
Well, you have probably heard many a time that it's the media and it's, you know, that's obvious, but I relate it in relation to myself and how it affects me. And I know that when I get on the phone and I'm looking at, and I get emails sent to me because I've joined Glassons, or I've joined, you know, various clothing companies, and I'll get their emails and I'll see clothing that I like and I want to wear, and I think, oh, but that's for a young girl, maybe I shouldn't wear that. So that influences me. I'm more influenced by what people are wearing. Like when I was younger, like when I was growing up, I wasn't chubby or I didn't have a weight issue. And I didn't even think about my weight until I had my children. And then I had a weight issue. Then I started thinking about my weight. Then I struggled with clothing and diets and how I looked in clothing, and I didn't like the way I looked in clothing. So my whole focus for me was how I looked in clothing.
Yeah.
And I think that stemmed from when I was younger, because growing up we didn't have a lot, and I had a lot of hand-me-downs from my sister. So I didn't get much in the way of new clothes. So I was always thinking that I never was good enough unless I had the right clothing on. So...
Where did you get this idea from? Was it like when you were a little girl, your mom would dress you up or say you have to dress?
She didn't have, and I don't blame her, but we didn't have the money to, you know, wear nice clothes. I had a friend whose mum always dressed her pretty and nice and like, and I always had my sister's hand-me-downs. I never had anything new, and that's not her fault. She just didn't have a lot of money. My family didn't have a lot of money. We lived on one income, but a lot of families did back then. That wasn't unusual. Like I grew up in a typical pretty typical Australian household. One sister, one brother. Shared a room with my sister.
So you have a sister and a brother.
Yeah, and occasionally I got something new, but not that
Not
often.
all the time.
No.
Yeah. Are you younger?
Yeah, I'm younger. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I got hand-me-downs. And I always felt like I looked like a boy, because Mum kept my hair short and tidy until I insisted on growing it long, because I felt like a boy. But yeah, I got like this idea that if I wore the right clothes, then maybe I might be accepted with my peers, because I was a bit of a quiet wallflower growing up, bit of an introvert. More of an extrovert now, though. Kind of got over that. But, yeah, so I've always had this idea in my head that if I wear the right clothes and have the right styles, that I might be more acceptable in society.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So that's always been my concept of the influence of media and everything, and I think that the young girls, I think they get the idea too that you've got to, like with fashion and all that, so you've got to have the latest and the greatest to feel right and fit in, and sometimes I look at some of the girls walking along the streets and they've got the right fashions, but it doesn't look right on them, you know.
But they feel comfortable in that.
But whatever they're comfortable in.
So, but how do you think this negative body image can affect any relationships?
Relationships?
Yeah.
Quite a lot, really. I remember at the times when I was at my chubbiest, I didn't want my husband to see me like that. I wouldn't get undressed in front of him, stuff like that. And I've known him for 34 years. He's known every part of me, but I still wouldn't feel comfortable about it, you know? So, yeah, and he still, when I first met him, he was uncomfortable in certain ways in front of me. So it does impact you.
Do you think that the relationship, it affects it and
well, yeah, because you don't, because you're focused on that, you're not having the 100% best of the relationship. When I say that, I mean in the bedroom, and because
you're
that's what you're focused on.
Yeah.
You're not relaxed. That's what you're focused on. Oh, we're going to see that bit, or we're going to see that bit, or whatever. But yes, it does.
How do I look here? How do I look there?
Yeah. Mirror there, whatever. I mean, and I'm talking from the perspective of someone who's been married for 30 years. I don't know what it might be like if you're dating or anything like that, because I've never done that.
But you definitely dated, but when you were 17, yeah.
Yeah.
Then at that time you felt yourself beautiful.
Long time ago. No, I was very awkward and there's the thing, see, I've never felt like I am beautiful. And people say, have said you're beautiful, but I don't believe them. I don't believe that I'm beautiful. My husband says I'm beautiful, but I don't believe what he says. But I don't believe that I'm beautiful. And this is a concept I cannot get in my head, that I am beautiful.
So it's just, I think maybe you need to change the definition of
What
beautiful
is,
what
yeah.
beautiful is.
And you know how people say, oh, you've got inner beauty. And you're like, oh, yeah, inner beauty.
Inner beauty, yeah. No, I don't have inner beauty. I have outer beauty.
Oh, but your beauty radiates from within, you know.
Yeah, for me it sounds like bad thing when people say, oh, but you have you're ugly, but inside you're beautiful.
They're basically saying, well, you're ugly, but you've got inner beauty, you know.
I would say, oh, you have inner beauty as well.
Yeah.
Then it sounds a bit different. Well, yeah. So how do you overcome these body-related insecurities when they come up? What's your go-to methods?
I don't.
I don't.
I really don't know. I probably just try and put it out of my head and think of other things, or try to cover it up, because my biggest issue is my skin. I don't like my skin, so I try to wear clothes that do not reveal too much of that. So consequently, going to the beach is a tough one. So, which is not a bad thing, because I do suffer with skin cancers on my face and things like that. So I'm an advocate for not, letting yourself burn to a crisp in the sun. So you can cover yourself to as much as you can on the beach, like if you can, but you still got to go and have a swim. So, yeah.
So you just either ignore it or you hide it.
Yes, so I ignore it.
Well, sometimes it's a good approach.
Maybe have a glass of wine, pretend it's not there.
Oh gosh. So you think that with age it didn't change? Like you still, because some women say, okay, with age I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I am getting it to that point where I just don't care anymore. I really don't care anymore. I'm not that worried about it anymore. That's true. Yeah. That's probably more the truth. I'm not that worried about it anymore.
It's a good part of getting older.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with being as married as long as I have. I don't have to worry about it that much anymore.
It's just time.
But I mean, that doesn't mean to say that I still don't want to take care of myself and still feel beautiful and good about myself.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to I always have this feeling inside myself, or this idea inside myself, I don't want to let myself go. You know that saying? Don't let yourself go.
Yeah.
I don't want to let myself go. Not quite, let it all go, that kind of thing. So I always want to
You still want to look
maintain a certain level of
to look after yourself.
Niceness. Yeah, look after myself is what I mean. Yeah.
To have a manicure, pedicure.
Yeah. I've just been doing that a bit more since I started working.
Mm-hmm.
I started looking at myself and started to take care of myself a bit more. Because I got my own money, I started to think, maybe it's time I started looking after myself a bit more and doing a few more things to make myself feel a bit better and happier. So about myself. And that makes me happy. And one things that I do for myself is get myself a manicure. So that's one treat I do for myself. And my eyebrows. So that's something I've been doing since I've gotten older and started working again.
Excellent. So my last question is, what is your favorite quote or saying about being a woman, or maybe your own thoughts?
Well, it's not necessarily about being a woman, but I am a Christian. I'm a woman of faith, and there is this one scripture that has travelled with me most of my life, and it's Philippians 4:13, and it's I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and that has travelled with me through my whole life because it just helps me put one step foot in front of the other, and I've had a lot of obstacles, and that has just gotten me through. So that's me, that's my. And every time I've thought about, is there something, that question, that is the one that just keeps ringing through to me, and I think that's mine, that's me, that's who I am. So that's it.
Excellent. Thank you, Renee. Thank you very much for sharing your story. I hope you will enjoy the rest of the day and your photo shoot, and you will feel beautiful today. I'll try my best.
Well, thank you for your time.
If you have an interesting story, we'd love for you to participate. You can email us at info@alexandrawalker.com. That's Alexandra spelt with a KS. Or visit our website, alexandrawalker.com.